got it, you got it, you got it. It's coming. So are you ready?
So, Mr. Wells, why did you choose business over education?
Why did I choose business over education? I felt like when you're going into business, it's actually similar to education, because when you're going through the educational system, you have to learn, right? If you're going through business, you have to learn. So either you can work your butt off and build somebody else's business, or you can work your butt off and build your own business. Because at the end of the day, after this long journey, if you're making 2, 3, 4, 5 million a year, and you have that money coming in and you don't have to do anything, it's just coming. Or you can be working for 30 to 40 years, getting set at a set income and building somebody else's business while they making a 4 to 5 million. So for me, as my mindset shifted and business has grown upon me, it was about knowing that I can be the man at the top versus just a regular employee. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with education, but are you educated on your finances? Do you know about taxes? Do you know about real estate? Because at the end of the day, that's what you go to school for, to make money. But what do you do with the money? I mean, wouldn't you agree that it's kind of similar?
Definitely.
Okay.
So, when did that thinking started taking place? When did you start thinking about, I want to be the man at the top?
Well, that really started a few years ago when I bought my first property and realized that I owned something. And by having tenants, well, they kind of had to follow, my rules. And for me, when I got into real estate investing, that's when it really opened up to, okay, if I own properties, people paying me rent. If I'm a landlord, they got to follow, my rules. Then I had to start looking at different businesses. You always have a CEO or someone who's in charge. Why can't that be me? So as I started to build up in real estate, that's when I really got into finances as well. And I really started to grow because I was around people making $250,000, $600,000, $1 million. And they're telling me you can do the same thing. Knowing my skill set, knowing who I am, how I think, how I carry myself, I figured I can do that too. All I have to do is learn. So I decided to change my whole mindset and understand that I can be a boss. That's how I feel about myself. I feel like a young boss. I feel like a king. So when I call myself the investment king or the king of Inglewood, the king of my city, it's not just to have that title to say, oh, I'm the man and everybody know me. No, it's about what I bring to the table. How can I be a role model for the next generation? How can I help change young men like yourself as we've been working together? That's what makes me feel like the king, because can't nobody else do it like I do it. They can get into real estate. That's cool. They can get into finances. That's cool. But they can't do what I do, though. They don't have my swag. They don't have the it factor like I have. And that's how I feel about myself. So that's how my mindset started to shift towards business.
So that's one thing I really admire about you, is your confidence. How do you build your mindset to be that confident?
Honestly, I don't know the real answer to that, but the answer that I would give you is just knowing who I am and what I've accomplished. Being a young black man from Inglewood, going to Morehouse. Morehouse taught me a lot of who I am, that, I'm a king. I am a young man who has substance. So taking that mindset of what I learned there, how to dress, how to speak well, how to hold a conversation, and shifting it to business, it's the same thing. Now it's just that you're building something versus building for somebody else. Right. So for me to have that confidence is knowing that, okay, I bought property at a young age, invested in Detroit at a young age. Now it's like, okay, I've been successful, duplicate myself, keep building, and understand what I've done is not common in the neighborhood where we come from. So for me, that's why I'm so confident and understanding. And at the same time, too, I think I'm a fairly decent looking young dude. You feel me? So I feel like that swag, the way I dress, the way I carry myself, that's what gives me that confidence to boss up and know that I'm young Diddy.
Right. So when you say you bought property at a young age,
right.
What age was that?
Well, I bought my first house. It was for my 25th birthday, and we closed on it a week before. So I was 24 years old when I bought my first property. And that was something that I really didn't even see coming. I really didn't know how to invest in real estate until about 2 to 3 months before I bought the property, because a friend of mine from my childhood, she sold her property, and I just happened to look on Facebook and see her post that message about her selling her house. And I'm like, wait, hold on. How do you buy a house at 22, 23? And that just what sparked me. So 2 or 3 months later, I bought my first property. So yeah, I really got it about the age of 24.
24. Okay, so real estate is really what got you into finance at first.
Right.
So
Right.
between when you graduated from Morehouse and real estate, what were you doing between that time?
Well, I was working for LA County as a eligibility worker, so helping those, in the community who needed assistance financially, for food or for medical information. Basically like a caseworker. So that's what I was doing before I got really dove into finance and real estate.
So did you ever have, between that time, did you ever have like a aha moment when you started thinking about, oh, I could leave my job and really get into this?
Yeah, I did. That moment came about the end of 2016. My mom was a little sick, and I was really moving forward as far as the finance business, like really understanding what I was doing. And then being around people who are so motivating, who are so great, who've taught me a lot, that make $500,000 to $1 million. And they're telling me, you can be making the same amount of money as me, right? If you dedicate your time to it. So towards the end of 2016 is when I really knew that, okay, I'm smart enough, I have the swag, I have the focus, and I have the mindset. Let me take this chance. Let me take this risk. And when it comes to business, a lot of people are scared to take risks because they don't want to fail.
Right.
They so worried about what they're going to say on Instagram. They so worried about what their friends or their parents are going to say. But every entrepreneur goes through a low moment, and then they become successful. But the thing in our community is that people want to be successful at a young age. They want to have $1 million while they're 25. Okay, so they can floss and buy Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff like that, versus appreciating that, you're going to work hard for it, you're going to preserve it, and then you're going to pass the wealth down from generation to generation.
Right. So for us being in that social media era, how do you really focus down to what you want to do and really just stick your head up without looking at what other people are doing as well?
That's a great question. It actually is kind of difficult, especially being in LA. There are so many ways to make money. Right. Okay, so to not be concerned with what everyone else is doing, I think that comes from a lot of confidence. Like, you got to believe in yourself and what you want. And for me, I'm very, very confident in myself. So to know that if I do this one thing first, because you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. If I can master this to where I'm making 50, 60 grand a month, or perhaps, at least over 83,000 a month, which will make you $1 million. If I can do that, I can take this money and start other businesses.
Right.
Okay, I can buy multiple properties. I can buy apartment buildings. I can build houses. So there you have all these other incomes coming in. However, you have this one set of income coming in no matter what for the rest of your life. And that's what I really, really love about being in finances.
So what is your why? What's your motivation? What keeps you going every single day?
My why. My family is the main thing, is being able to take care of my mom, take care of my nieces and nephews. However, I want to, leave an impact on my community. So once again, when I call myself the King of Inglewood, it's not just to have that name, to be flossing and say I'm popping and I'm doing well. No, it's to say this is where I'm from. This is what I bring to my community. I can take other, children in the community and show them, hey, you can be successful too. Right. And then when I do that, not only am I going to be able to change their life, I'm going to change my family's life. And then, of course, I will be able to live well. I will be able to ball out and, buy a Lamborghini, drive that Porsche, and be able to take trips and then, purchase several, properties. That stuff will come. So my main thing is to focus on being that role model for them. That's my biggest why, is just being someone that people can look up to and say, man, I know that kid. I know where he came from.
So having you as my mentor is very, advantageous to me. So I learn from you. And
right.
One thing I really admire is your confidence again. And you always tell me you can show me to do what you did
right.
at a young age. So how do you really perceive yourself as a leader? How do you stick your head up? How do you show people, oh, okay, you could do this, just follow my lead?
Right. That's a great question. It comes down to confidence as well, because I jumped in the investment game without knowing anything. So I can take my small little piece of experience and show you. So you graduating from high school early, hitting 18, how is it that I can't show you this? Because you're coming off a place where you have no debt. You're about to start making some money. You start saving just like I did. So if I was able to buy a house at 24, you can do it by 20. You start saving money. So for me to be that leader, not only for you, but for the other guys that I mentor, for the next generation, it's just purely showing them, if you follow my lead, I can show you how to get there. And that because I'm following other leaders who make more money than me, who've been through more experience than me. If I can take that knowledge I learned from them, the knowledge I have that I've gained over my experience, and duplicate that and reproduce it and show you, why couldn't you be successful? And that's how I look at it. But the thing about it is, you're coachable. You know, you want to be successful. Imagine if I wasn't here, you probably still would be successful because you're educated, you know, going to college. But now your life is going to be the way you thought it could be, but faster, because you're around people who are doing great things, who want to build great empires. So it all comes down to that confidence. I know that I can teach you something and you're willing to learn from me, so why not?
So with me getting into finance with you, I have a lot of friends, and I really want my friends to be with me. What advice do you have to give me when it comes to mixing friends with business?
Mixing friends with business. Well, it's two ways you can look at it. I look at working with my friends. I look at the model that LeBron has. Him, Maverick Carter, and the rest of the guys that he grew up with. They've created so many different streams of income, so many businesses, that they've revamped the whole model of the NBA on how to get paid.
Right.
Okay? So if I'm working with my homie, if I'm getting money, I'm going to show you. My thing was to teach my friends how to invest in real estate. Did all of them listen to me? No. Did some of them listen to me? No. But at the end of the day, I knew what I wanted to do. So if I got the blueprint, why not show you? Then we can get money together. But at the same time, when it comes to working with your friends, sometimes they envy you. They might not tell you. They might not show you in your face. But some people just don't have that same belief in themselves that you have in yourself. So in my experiences, I've had friends who did want to come work with me, and they felt like the success I was having was too much to where it overshadowed them, and they decided to pull out. Then I have friends who looked at me dead in my face and felt like, I can do what you do. I'm just as good as you, which is true, they were. But at the same time, it comes back to, I know something that you don't know, so let me teach you. So when I got into real estate and finances, I had friends who showed me how to do this. Now, I knew I was just as smart. I knew I was just as intelligent, but I knew I didn't know the rule of 72.
Right.
I knew I didn't know anything about a first-time home buyer loan. So for me, it was just being humble and saying, you know what, teach me the game. Because when I learn this game, I'm going to go back and then I'm going to work on that craft day in and day out so I could be not only as good as you, but eventually I want to be better than you, but we can get money together though. Right. So that's how I look at it when it comes to mixing friends with business. And sometimes they're not going to understand you. You're not going to understand them because it's growing pains. Everybody has to learn. You can work with your friend on a day-to-day basis when it comes to doing a group project at school. That's different from building a business together. So it's different phases that come in between that, but it just comes down to that person's mindset. Are they willing to work with you, willing to learn from you, or do they envy you? It's a difference. So for me, I do believe in mixing friends and business because who else would I want to trust? Who else would I want to shine with than the person I grew up with? But sometimes everybody doesn't have that same mindset. And once it, divulges and breaks apart, then you just move forward and do your own thing. Let them do their thing. Don't wish any envy on them. But just know what the overall goal is to be successful.
I think it has to do with also mindset, as you talked about,
right.
And also self-love. Because when you want to do something, it doesn't matter who's teaching you, but if the person is willing to show you what to do to get there,
right.
You have to follow the steps. So what is your really overall goal? What do you really want to accomplish?
Well, my overall goal is to have an impact on my community and, of course, take care of my family. Because I feel like kids in my neighborhood need a role model. And I feel like I'm the perfect example for them because I made mistakes. And I've been very, very successful, coming from where we come from in the inner city. So to be able to revamp the Inglewood Unified School District is something that's really on my hit list. And it takes money to do that, to get good books and great teachers, to take care of my family, to send my nieces and nephews to college on my dime is something I want to do. And I just want to be the man in my city. When I say I'm the king of Inglewood, it's because I can leave a legacy for my city. The same way you think of the Lakers, you think Magic Johnson. When you think of Inglewood, I want you to think of Kadeem Wells, period. Whether you call me Young Diddy, Kadeem Wells, or Principal Wells, I want them to know this is where I'm from. And I want to be that man in the city that everybody knows when they come in, I want to talk to this guy. I seen him, when he was a kid and he's grown up to be very successful. So my overall goal is to have that recognition, to know this is where I come from and this is what I've been able to leave an imprint on my community in a positive way.
So with me getting into finance right now, I understand that it's a process.
Right.
So you don't just come and start making a whole bunch of money. So what do you have to tell me as far as advice or how to deal with the process? Right.
Don't give up on yourself. So in anything that you do, whether it's school or business or working a job, you're going to get frustrated. But that's why you have mentors. That's why you ask for help. Be humble enough to know, I'm good at this. I can succeed, but also know I still don't know everything. So let me take my mentor's advice, let me take my coach's advice to move forward in life. So my main thing would be, don't get frustrated, but continue to learn. Because at the end of the day, the power is not from the knowledge, but it's applying the knowledge that you learn. There are people who know more than you. Why not ask? Why not use them up for that, so that not only can you become successful, but you can be able to do whatever it is that you want to do. Right. So my main thing on that, just staying focused and never giving up on yourself.
Okay. So, you know, working in music, we work with people, so we have a team, and also we have competition.
Right.
So I have really two questions when it comes to that. Number one is, how do you deal with the competition? How do you not give up just because the competition is doing better than you?
Man, that's a great question. How do I not give up and worry about the competition? Because I know who I am. I know if I perfect my craft, I will eventually be better than them, or if not just as good as them. But focus, get better, develop with your skill set. Once that happens, it's a no-brainer that you're going to be successful. There's no way you can study all day for whatever it is that you're doing. There's no way that you can do all the things that your mentor would tell you to do and you not get better. It's just humanly impossible. So I don't focus on my competition when it comes to what they're doing, because I know they can't do it like me. I know they can't boss up like me. I know they don't have the it factor that I have. And with that, just stay focused on what it is, because I can duplicate myself through the people that I'm working with. But when someone who's not working with me want to do what I do and duplicate that, you can't do it like me though. Right. You know, because at the end of the day, I'm moving in a whole different direction that you have no clue of. So that's why I don't trip over competition.
What do you really look up to when it comes to finances and business?
My idol, you know, is Diddy. That's why I call myself Young Diddy. But it's because I've seen this man go from starting a music label to being worth, you know, almost $1 billion. So for me, I like the way he markets himself, and that's what I try and do. You know, marketing myself, building my brand. And then I also look at LeBron, what he's done with his team, what he's done with his friends, and how he's built up and put all of them in position to be successful. And then the person who become number one for me now is Nipsey Hussle. Being from the same city, from LA, okay, even though I'm from Inglewood, being in the same environment of rolling past all the businesses that he started up in the community, I'm like, dude, how could I not do that? A guy who in the street doing what I want to do, how could I not follow that path? And me having family in the neighborhood, it's the same thing. So it gives you the opportunity to understand, as a young black man, you are intelligent. You can move forward no matter where you come from, no matter how you look, no matter how the world depicts you, you can still do it. So when I see the business model that all three of those gentlemen, you know, move forward with, I feel like I can do the same thing that they do. You know, take a little bit here, a little bit there, and form my own business and put my swag on it. So those are the three people I look up to: Diddy, LeBron, and Nipsey right now. It's really doing it for me.
So one last question: why is financial literacy important? What do we need to know about finances?
We need to know about finances so we don't go broke. How many athletes do we know go broke? How many people in the inner city don't retire well? How many people get their taxes back and blow it within a week because they have no financial education? So I feel like coming from my community, where I come from, I can be that go-to person for them to talk to, because no one else is doing it the way that I'm doing it. No one else is doing it the way that my team is doing it. So not knowing how to invest in Target and Walmart and Best Buy or Amazon, Apple, all these companies that we purchase items from, we need to learn how to invest in them. So when they make money, we make money. But no one taught me that growing up. No one taught me the rule of 72. No one taught me about taxes. No one taught me about real estate. So if I got this information now, I need to show my community that if you own the business, you get tax write-offs, okay? If you own the business, you work for yourself and you do what you want, when you want, and how you want. And last but not least, you know what to do with your money so that the money does not, you know, go be blown on stuff that doesn't matter. That's the main thing of why people need to understand, you know, financial literacy.
Real big, real big. I know one day I would do it real big. Real shit, real shit. I know what my real niggas feel is.